Hello, everyone, and welcome to the triumphant return of the Friday Game Review.
I didn't say game.
That was unrehearsed.
Yeah,
I'm Ian Nee Lewis. As always, with me is
Dan Galpin, and today I'm actually wearing the cheese head.
It's about time.
Yeah.
Dan Galpin. I don't know if I've really made this clear because we make fun of Dan a lot on the show. Dan walks among mortals as a coding/developer relations god, someone who can only be expressed in a with the headgear.
I just thought it was the fact that I'm generally cheesy wherever I go. And
actually, what it is Dan is so good at what he does that he basically just lifts a middle finger to the world and its silly fashion requirements.
Right, exactly.
Well, check that out. Our producer Reto now has 2 cameras to work with.
That's
Camera
right.
1, camera 2.
Ooh, nice. That's exciting.
Unfortunately, camera 2 is apparently not lit at all.
No, it's not.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, we'll have to get light actually bouncing off of us towards camera 2, although realistically that's not my best angle.
Really?
It's not.
You have a good angle?
No, but I have ones that are worse than others.
Okay. Joining us as well is the mystery beer.
I've been taunted by the mystery beer for several hours now. So,
Yep.
all right. So I might.
By the way,
try
it
this.
actually came in this wrapper, although I turned it inside out so you wouldn't be able to tell what it is.
I
Okay,
see.
ready?
All right.
Okay.
Is that a fit?
Bottoms up. That's pretty hoppy.
Yeah, that's pretty significantly bitter. I like
Indeed.
it.
That is. So this is another one from our friends at
Oh,
McKellar.
fantastic!
The
Wow.
McKellar 1000 IBU. And just to put that in context, I think most IPAs top out at around a couple hundred.
Yeah,
right?
that's actually it's quite good, and
It's palatable.
I think
you reach a point of bitterness where it just can't get any bitterer.
Yeah, well, basically, we've spent the last 6 months or so building up a tolerance to all things bitter here, and
That's true.
yeah. So it's
Wait, I've been working with you for a year.
yeah, that's true, but that's me building up a tolerance to things bitter.
Gotcha.
All right.
So let's get right on to the games. We've got some really interesting things today. We've got a few games that came off of the moderator that we're going to look at.
Thanks for voting.
Yeah, thank you very much for voting. Sorry to everyone whose games were not chosen. There were some comments today on the Friday Review Google Plus page talking about why certain things were or were not voted in. So I just want to clear that up. The reason that something will get chosen is A, because you voted up, and B, because we want to talk about it. So typically, Reto and I will sit down and look at the top 10 apps and the top 10 games, and Reto will choose some number of apps from that, of which he'll cover maybe 3, and then Dan and I will sit down and look at the games and look at the top 10 and choose usually the top 6. We generally try to just choose the top voted games, but we don't always, and usually it's because one of the top voted games is something we just don't have much to say about. And I'm particularly looking at you, Xbugs dude. We've talked about your thing twice, man. So quit it with the complaining because we're not going to talk about it again. Good game. We did actually nominate it.
We did, absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of times a nomination will take 4 to 5 weeks to go through. And the reason is that merchandising has a whole pile of apps that could be featured, and then they'll choose the ones that they think are going to be best for that particular week.
Yeah, and as with Axe Bugs itself, I vaguely remember some comment that squashing bugs is not as fun as they thought it was going to be. But that just might be their opinion. But I thought that squashing bugs was quite a lot of fun.
I thought it was endless fun.
I wouldn't go that far.
Whole family.
it was something that small children would appreciate, and it's a lot nicer than having them squash real bugs. So in general.
Oh, it's a bug squashing simulator. They're going to go out and squash bugs all weekend long as soon as they get away from the computer.
They're mutant bugs. All right, now we've talked about the game.
That's a good point.
All right. All right. So we're also going to talk about some games that weren't actually nominated because Ian and I had something miraculous happen in the last
Yes.
week. We actually had a few days off.
Yes.
Following.
And boy, do I regret it. The first moment I opened up my email inbox.
And so we actually had some time to play games that were not on the moderator list. And so we wanted to talk about some of the games we've been playing. Some of them last week, some of them throughout the last couple of months. And put them through the same kind of critical filter as we put everything else on the Friday Game Review through. And also we wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that have gone on in the last few weeks. One, of course, is today we are shipping Nexus 7 devices, which is awesome.
No, wait, today?
Today.
Really?
Yeah, today.
So, and this is a surprise to me because none of us knew, actually. A lot of people are like, oh, why is Google so secretive? Why won't they say when they're shipping things? Because we don't know.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I'm sure somebody does.
Yeah.
We don't.
We post. The only reason I know is that we posted it on a Google Plus page, and so
There
I'm
you go.
like, all right, well, I guess we're shipping devices. How
Seriously, if you and I ever get fired, we'll probably find out about it from the public,
cool.
like Google blog or something.
Yeah, expect.
'Cause that's how we find out everything.
Okay, I guess I should pack up my desk.
Exactly.
All right, so.
So anyway, yeah. So Nexus 7. Let's bring that bad boy up.
All right.
This is an awesome game machine, and I'll tell you why. So first, it's got the Tegra 3 inside.
Yeah.
So very similar to our previous standby, which is the Asus Transformer Prime. Now, actually, we're still going to use the Asus Transformer Prime on the show, and the reason is that it has one of the best HDMI output implementations that we've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Whereas the Nexus 7 stock does not come with an HDMI output at all. But I'm playing games on this, and I'll tell you why. Because it's just as fast, and it's easier to hold. The truth is that having in fact, if Reto would go to camera 2 for a second, when you have the ability to just hold it in your hands like this, compared to, with
the dock especially.
Yeah, you might want to take the dock off. Come on.
The dock is so cool.
On? Well, all right, whatever.
Yeah, all right. So
for some definitions of cool. Anyways, the way you hold it in your hands like this, it's just really easy. I can play accelerometer games, I can play dual stick games, and I never get tired of holding it, and I never feel like I have to stretch my thumbs to reach elements of the interface. But at the same time, I never feel like I'm squinting because it's so much bigger than a phone.
Yeah, it's an awesome game playing device, and that's where I've been doing pretty much all of the gaming that I don't do on Galaxy Nexus these days, and there are I'm just excited for more game developers to get their hands on it. I think it's fantastic. Like, we finally have a development platform that anyone can go and buy that's running the latest version of Android. That hopefully will be available at some point to everyone around the world, but today it's available to a lot of people, so that's really cool.
Yeah, and at a very good price point too.
Yeah, and Jay is awesome. And I want you to know, we're not actually talking about, when we're talking about this, we're actually really not trying to pimp this as a sales pitch. We actually just love
That's
the
true.
device.
We actually are just really excited about it.
Yeah, so I just want to make it really clear that that this is not this is the official Nexus 7 commercial segment of the Friday Game Review. This is because we freaking love playing games with this device. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And
and here's the thing.
Yeah.
Jelly Bean.
Jelly Bean, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Project Butter is awesome, and being able to actually sync to VSync in your games is awesome. Everyone should start doing it. It's really, really cool, and we may even cover that someday. I don't know, maybe in another form. But
Yeah, we've had some really good talks about that. In general, the improvements that we made in Jelly Bean will make your user experience totally smooth. You will feel like you bought a new device. Like I put it on my Galaxy Nexus, I felt like I'd just gotten a new phone.
Yeah, it's.
I think it's finally gotten to be what I would consider world class because I think we could admit that Gingerbread and even ICS were janky compared to what we really wanted. From the hardware and what the hardware was capable of.
Yeah, I
mean,
we
fixed all of that.
Actually, we've gone beyond what the hardware is capable of right now. That's it. In all seriousness, with what's great about Jay for gamers is that is that our touch response has gone from 2 to 3
Right.
frames worth of delay to really 1 frame
Yeah.
fixed delay, which is amazing. And so
Yeah,
you're
we've
seeing,
actually seen significant performance improvements in some games
Yeah.
just for running on Jelly Bean. And the interesting thing is, we have no idea
idea
why.
why. Yeah.
It's a complete mystery
Yeah.
to us. We're going to figure it out one day. But yeah,
this is the ultimate Temple Run machine, I can tell you.
that's right. Temple Run Brave got what, 10 or 15%?
It was insane.
Like,
yeah.
bizarre.
Yeah, it was.
Is that a Unity game?
Yeah, it's a
So
Unity
did we
game.
see that on any other Unity titles?
I've been paying attention.
You've been
But
playing Temple Run Brave,
but-
nice.
But the best part about it is that your gestures just get recognized just that much better, and it's
Yeah.
just
It's really
it's
slick.
awesome. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to hear what you guys think of it when you get your hands on it, and let's go on to some games.
Yeah, let's do that. So yeah, this is a very special episode of the Friday Game Review, and I'm pretty sure when I posted that, at least some people that grew up in the 70s and 80s thought that it was going to be about us kicking our drug habits, and it's not. Those habits are very valuable to us.
Absolutely.
But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the games. Why don't we start with one of the games that you've been playing?
All right, so not to be completely cliche here, but I've been playing a lot of Dead Trigger, and this is Dead Trigger. I'm actually getting wiped right now, running here on the Transformer Prime, and this is not my real game. I will point out that I'm up to day like 70 on this game in real life, and I think I'm on day 5 or 6 or something like that. What's great about Dead Trigger is this is the way to do a high-quality 3D title for mobile. They've been very clever in the way they actually reuse a relatively small number of environments to do a whole variety of different missions, and they've managed to fit the game into about 100 megabytes, which is great. Now, however...
And I love how they have an ad for Shadowgun.
They do.
That
Now,
just rocks.
But here's the one problem with this ad. I mean, seriously? All right. So... So one thing is, if you're going to do something cool enough, like have an ad for your other game, dude, show the people the stuff.
Yeah, show us some love, man. Come on, you guys.
All right, so that's one thing. Another thing is back button support. I'm hitting the back button right now. You notice nothing is happening here. Okay?
No back button.
Yeah, this is just so
Ouch.
Yeah, so it's like they never watched the show, which is amazing.
Right,
but
we get it. You're awesome. You're
Yeah.
from Europe. You can do things differently.
Yeah.
But not the freaking back button.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
do not mess with that, pal.
So that's one thing. Another thing about the game is it actually does have kind of limited back button support on the main page when you actually get back to it. It's like mission failed. Also, guys. So this is it's the dreaded grid application dialogue.
And what it really comes down to is that this is a great game. You should all try it out. You should all play it. You're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
But it will not be a featured app in Google
until,
Play
until they fix
because
some of these
the
things.
Google because the Google Play QA team is gonna look at this and just laugh. And
Yeah.
of course we're gonna nominate. We're gonna work with these guys because we think they're awesome.
Yeah.
We think that it should be featured in Google Play, but they're gonna have to fix this stuff before it gets featured.
Totally. And and the game really is awesome. And the other thing that people, and I will say, a lot of people have been commenting on Google Play that, hey, this is a 99-cent game and it expects me to buy stuff.
Oh, it's Paymium.
And actually, the reality of the game is you can grunt your way through this game without buying anything, as far as I can tell. Maybe there is
Plus,
some point.
you know what? Hey,
Yeah.
get over yourselves.
Yeah, I know, really.
This
It's
is a
not-
$15 game.
Yeah,
okay.
it's
this would have sold for $15 on Xbox Live, and you know it.
Yeah, this is
99 cents is a pretty good deal.
This is a really good deal. And to be honest, I'm now on, as I said, day 70-something of the game, and I still only paid the 99 cents. And part of the reason I did that was I wanted to see, could I actually get through the entire game with 99 cents? That's still left to, we'll still don't really know whether that's true. But, as weeks go by, I'll try to update you guys to see
I've
whether
been
it's actually
wondering,
possible.
Dan,
Yeah.
for you, just in terms of the way you perceive things.
Yeah.
How many hours are in a day?
26. So
That answers my question. Thank you.
actually, there's only 4 hours for sleep. That's what it really comes down to. So,
Wow.
yeah. Well, I know that since you've had a child, actually 4 hours of sleep is a luxury. So, in any case, so I'll continue reporting back, and also I hope to come back with this game when they fix some of these things because it is awesome. So that is Dead Trigger. Now, other games that we are playing. Now this game is not on the main screen here because it was already installed. But this is
mine, yes.
So I have
Radiant Defense.
not
Now
run-
I'm going to take this out of the thing here.
Okay.
Okay. Radiant Defense is every year or two there comes a game that I have to finish. I almost never finish a game, and in this particular case. It was Radiant Defense. You know, the last.
Have
I
you
think the
actually
last
finished it
game
now?
I have finally finished.
All
I've
right,
three-starred every level.
Nice.
So I love tower defense games. I think tower defense games are great. This one in particular really, really caught my eye. So it was free to download.
Before you go into it, I think you've disconnected the HDMI cable.
Oh, wonderful. How's that?
That's better.
Okay.
Wonderful.
We have to be very cautious with these mini HDMI cables, micro HDMI cables. excuse me.
Yeah. What's really, really interesting about this game is that unlike the let's go ahead and get past the sort of cheesy, humorous sections here. They actually are pretty funny.
The humor is good, yeah.
well, it's right up at the Captain Underpants level.
exactly.
but
Just where we like
just
to
where we
live.
like it. Okay.
Yeah, so
So like many tower defense games, your enemies will come on a path. What makes this one interesting is that you will set the path by building blocks. Now, a lot of games will let you set the path, alter the path by building towers, but in this case, you can't build towers on the path. You have to build towers on these existing black squares, but you also get a certain number of these black squares, the blocks, to set yourself. So if I set up these modules, I can actually lengthen or alter the path. And this turns out to be one of the major
innovations.
it turns out to be one of the major strategies that you have to think about.
Okay.
There's a lot of levels where you're absolutely hopeless unless you've built the correct path. But if you have built a path that makes sense, for instance, you've got aliens coming at you from two different areas, you need to build a path so that one of them takes so long that you get it second instead of getting
exactly.
both of them at the same time. And the other innovation, the other thing that I think is really interesting is that towers miss. The towers actually have aim, and they rotate around at a fixed speed. So sometimes, and you're seeing it right now, every now and then one of those bullets will just miss one of the enemies. So you have to be really careful about your tower placement because you don't want to make it so they have to rotate around really quick. You don't want to make it so the shots are hard. For instance, if you place a tower where the aliens are coming past it, then it's going to be harder for it to make the shots because they're coming faster. Whereas if you place a tower so the enemies are coming towards it, it's a lot easier to make a shot.
And I love the graphic style of this game. I just
The
wanted to
style
comment-
is great,
I mean,
yeah.
Hexage just does it with all their games, but Radiant Defense I think is the pinnacle of what they've done with this style. I think it's brilliant, and you immediately look at one of their games and you immediately say, oh, well, that's a Hexage game. That's just it. So hope that's how it's pronounced, but
Hexage?
Hexage, that's right. It could be.
You know it's a Japanese company, right?
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah,
So-
they're all in the UK, I believe. So we're going for Hexage.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, the graphics are great. They've got this really cute cartoony style, but it's not too cute.
Yeah.
All of the enemies and the weapons are really well rendered. They all have their own behaviors that keep you engaged. But on top of that, they just have a really deep strategy and a really interesting monetization model. So this is one of those games where you buy upgrade packs. And I have to admit, I bought all the upgrade packs. So when I say I 3-starred it, I did 3-star it, but I had to buy all the upgrade packs. Let me show you what they've got.
Can you even get
So-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, let's say that I want this. The best weapon in the game by far is the ballistic missile,
Okay.
Seraphim missile launcher.
Okay.
And the reason it's such a great weapon is because they're seeking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if they miss, they'll come around again.
I thought isn't Seraphim the name of the like Pharisees or something? I don't know. It's
No,
very-
you're
it's-
thinking of Sadducees. Seraphim were
Oh, no,
actually
no,
they were just like cherubim.
That's Right,
They were one of those Kabbalistic angels.
So that's right. They were the Kabbalistic group. All right. So I was just curious if there was some mythological reference there that I was missing. So.
I think we've both missed it.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I want to unlock this, they're going to sell me the explosive pack, and I think, I don't know, it's like $1.99 or something.
Is it really?
Or you can get the science pack. Which gives you power blades, which are awesome because you know how there's always like one enemy that gets away from you and he's like got one hit point left, but he still kills you. Well, you put a power blade in front of your base and he runs into it and boom.
Awesome. So,
yeah, incredible stuff. Just really fun stuff. The other thing that's that I love about it, I think you do have to buy it if I remember. I think it's one of these. Oh, maybe not. I think it's actually in there to begin with. Is they have a specific type of tower that doesn't do any damage, but if an enemy dies near it, it doubles your money.
Nice. I like that.
So you get into these really interesting strategies where you're not just trying to kill all the aliens, you're trying to kill them in the right place so you can get the most money. And the way they score is like many games that I enjoy, they give you an interest bonus between rounds,
right?
Which gives you an incentive to spend the least money possible. Now they cap that at $500, so if you get more than $500, you're not going to get any more interest, which is
makes sense.
Yeah, but then what they do for your score is they take all the enemies you killed and then all the money you have left, and they have a multiplication factor. So if you want to get a huge high score on this game, which I haven't, I think the top 10 scores are all about 20 million. I think 3-starring every level, I think I might have broken 2 million.
Wow.
But
so the moral of the story is this game monetized well enough that Ian went and bought everything in the game. So it's probably one
with my own money, not my Google credit card.
Yes, and so this is probably
Big
one
deal.
that's that's worth looking at if you're studying. What's a decent story. Now, of course, that's Ian may not reflect everyone's taste, but this
Not
game
at all.
truly is
I am
awesome.
very different. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it not only did it give me a reason to buy, but did you notice how good their merchandising is?
Yeah.
They're not just saying. It's not a stupid little list of things that you can buy that's dull and boring.
Yeah.
It's
They sell it to you like they're marketing it within the game to me as the player of the game, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want to do. This
Exactly.
is not the place to cut corners in
Right.
your game. Is when you're actually
well, and
going
also
into the
it's
monetization
not
phase.
4,000 radiant bucks or something like that.
Yeah.
That
This is what you're getting.
Yeah, this is what you get, but they've put some nice graphics. They've given them creative names that make me think, I want that pack. And even just saying it's a pack
for people who
kind of cool.
For people who feel really nickeled and dimed by these games, this is a great strategy. And actually, I think even if you are selling these things individually, I think the idea of also selling them in packs is really appealing.
Yeah.
And especially, what I really want Shadowgun to do actually is have an upgrade that turns. That doubles the amount of coins you get for everything in the game, and then turns everything that you had to buy with gold, which is the quote slow currency that you basically don't get during the game, into something you can buy with coins. Basically, unlocking the entire game into something that you can just grind through for like $7 or $8.
Right.
And
I think this is actually a $9 or $10 game, which absolutely is in line with the enjoyment that I got out of it. Had a lot of fun. Could have spent nothing and still had a lot of fun, but getting each pack really increased my enjoyment.
Exactly.
Now, here's a question for you, by the way, about pricing.
Okay.
Would you rather get something that is 50% off or something where you get 50% more free?
Usually that's an interesting question. I want both.
And because you're Dan Galpin, you'll probably get it. But let's pretend you're me.
No. I mean, I think honestly, 50% more free makes a lot of sense when it comes to monetization in the game. It's like is it there's only a certain number of people who are going to monetize, and if you can make those users feel like they're getting value for their money and make them spend a little bit more, my suspicion is you're going to monetize better.
So here's the thing. I was just reading this in The Economist this morning because that's what I read when I brush my teeth in the morning.
Right.
And they had an article that said they did some studies on this, and people would rather get 50% more free
There you
than
are.
get 50% off, even though, let's do the math.
Yeah, they're spending more money.
Yes, 50% more free is 33% off the
Yes.
price. So, yeah, just an interesting thing. But yeah, definitely people like to feel like they're getting a better deal.
Yeah, and I think really that's the key thing. One of the when we were working with Wind Up Night, beginning of the game, he pops up this dialogue and says, "Boom, you can unlock the entire game for a one-time only price of blah." And after, right after, I think you're after the second level or something like that. And it was his most popular purchase in the game.
Yeah.
People, one, he demonstrated value. Two, they'd already understood what they were getting in terms of gameplay. And it was so awesome once you could unlock the entire game to not have to worry about that. Then you could just spend your money on all the really cool upgrades you did in the game, and it was very cool. So
But you know what is absolutely the biggest draw monetization wise? Everybody should do this. This is what we have discovered over and over again. The biggest draw is something that's time limited. Where I have spent my money, so I spend my money on things that I truly enjoy, but there are times when I have spent more money than I was going to. For instance, I bought platinum packs of cards on Big Win Hockey.
yeah, Big Win Hockey, yeah.
Right. Really enjoyed that. Still need to call those guys and ask them why my team doesn't work anymore. Maybe because I spent too much money on it. I don't know. But
The game simply was not intended for a gamer of your caliber.
That's
and
probably it.
And your wallet size.
no.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's it. Anyway, yes, if you see me on Big Win Hockey, I will kick your ass. Why? I have money. Not that much money, but probably.
More money than most people are willing to spend on virtual cards.
Let's put this in real terms. I'm stupid with my money. Anyway, the point is that that the platinum cards were on sale. They were 50% off for a week, and I have no idea whether they even stopped that after a week, but it got me.
And actually, time limited offers are great, and not only that, it's for, people do kind of two things. One is to have an item that's only available during that period of time, in general, and the second thing is to have an offer, or a sale that's only available for those time periods. Those are both great. Also, activities, tournaments, anything you can do to make the game more alive.
Yep.
We'll get people like us. I think actually, what it was is I'm wearing the cheese head. And so you had to make fun of yourself this time because I've just basically done it all.
Once you have the cheese head, you're everything that I always wanted you to be. I have no further criticism.
That's right. I've got the beard. I have the cheese head. We're all
Yep.
good. All right, so let's go on to our next game.
Thank God you didn't wear the cheese head without a beard. Though.
Yeah,
that would have been disgusting.
Yeah, I know. All right, so we do actually have.
So you've been playing one other thing.
I
But
haven't-
we should probably get.
let's get to the real games.
Should we do Tiny Hawk?
Let's do Tiny Hawk.
I'll tell you this. When I saw this, I'm like, this is either a game about a little bitty bird, or it's going to be about skating, and that's awesome. Thank God it's about skateboarding.
That's right.
Rock on.
So this is a game that is about skateboarding, and honestly, it's fun. It does have some weird glitches occasionally, like you just saw there. But basically, your job is to play Tiny Hawk here. This is 8-bit retro style, but it's really retro style. It's not. It's like you get
The frame rate alone is much higher than you get on.
in most retro games. Now you basically can do two things. You can jump, and you can go down. So that is, and the goal is to get to the end and to try to collect all of the cans of whatever those are.
What are those?
I think they're cans of random soft drink. I think of some sort.
Okay. Sort of energy beverage, maybe.
It looks like it. I don't know, but and sometimes it's actually really hard to jump. You have to kind of figure out, and you can't actually change your direction. So it is sort of like this combination endless runner / with the skateboarding paradigm.
But you can bounce off the walls. That's how you got there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can
Okay,
bounce
nice,
off walls.
Nice.
So that's
HDMI is.
the HDMI. Yeah. So it's a little. I'm going to put this back into its stand just
gonna
because
help? Is that
I'm
really
less.
gonna help?
Just because I'm less likely to. I won't pick it up, and I'm less likely to jostle.
Can
it.
we just switch to camera 2 for just a second? Because I just want to mention that that this looks totally dorky. Go ahead, play the game.
Thanks.
No, play it.
All right. So.
All right. So how dorky is that, huh?
My dork
Really?
is
Right?
strong.
Dorky.
Okay. All right.
Does anyone understand the Dork Fu is strong reference? I don't know. All right.
Well, you have a picture-in-picture for camera 2?
Yeah.
When did you make that? While you're screwing around over here?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Rayto, you are so much better at this stuff than I am. I don't know why.
Job security.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you do have a Winton 7, so.
Oh, is that what it's being called these days?
Oh, you missed that whole discussion.
I did.
That's
I
great.
did. Oh.
All right, we'll stop with the inside jokes now.
Um,
Okay, so Tiny Hack, verdict is, what do they do wrong?
I actually have not found anything significant that they do wrong. The game does the correct thing with the back key. The game does the correct thing with audio. I mean,
Yeah, rock on, you guys.
So as far as the game, I think that the game itself can be a little frustrating. It is a native game. I don't see any particular reason why it has to be, other than my suspicion is that.
Well, a native game, you mean?
NDK game. It is
Uh-huh.
an NDK game.
Well, it's Marmalade game, right?
It's a Marmalade game,
Yeah,
exactly.
so.
But I mean, for the most part, they're doing the right thing. I would say, this is the only thing. If there was anything that even allows you to continue the game by hitting the continue button, they've really understood the flow and the way it should be. If I had to nitpick, this looks like a dialogue, and I might expect hitting the back key actually gets rid of it rather than backs out.
Yeah.
But
But if they saw our talk at GDC, you know what they're probably thinking is we have options. And then at our talk at I/O, we
Yeah.
changed that and said, you know what? That other option wasn't very good. Let's not do that.
But
anyway.
but in general, I actually think. I mean, the fact that you can just immediately continue like that is awesome. So,
Yeah, I'm really impressed. So we're gonna go ahead and nominate this.
Yeah,
I'll tell
absolutely.
you what I think is gonna happen. I think what's gonna happen is that people are gonna like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, we've got a few people on the
There-
editorial board that might frown on it, but
Mm-hmm.
in general, the 8-bit stuff, if it's a good game, we like it. But a lot of times it won't be featured immediately. And the main reason is that we're still worried that your average Google Play subscriber is not going to understand the 8-bit motif. They're not going to see it as an homage. They're going to see it as something that either looks ugly to them or reflects badly on the platform. But I'll tell you, Tavares, who does our merchandising, is a huge retro gamer.
Yeah, he'll love this. And
he put together the indie games.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, the
And
indie
this-
games collection last week, and we're really hoping to do a retro games collection
Yeah,
soon.
I very much want to do that, and this would be a perfect one for that. I think the only issue really with the game is it can get a little frustrating at times because
But
of the jumping.
that
And
is all about retro games, right?
It
If
is.
you're not tearing your hair out on a retro game, then it's not truly retro.
That's actually
right?
how I lost all of my hair.
Mm. Except for this piece in the back.
Yeah, except for
Okay.
that.
I just touched Dan's hair.
I know,
That
I-
felt so
dirty.
weird.
All right, so next game we're looking at is let's go to Awesome. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right.
Awesome.
So Awesome is a game that is going to hopefully show up in Portrait. Yes, it does.
No way! Thank you, Dr. HDMI.
So and to Asus for actually putting this really awesome HDMI
Absolutely.
set of settings in. Awesome. Again, I'm going to play like this, which looks even dorkier than what you can go back to camera 2 to show how dorky this actually looks. But again, this is my goal of trying to keep the HDMI cord in. Micro HDMI is not meant for the person who wants to hold their device, jiggle it around, and play games. It is meant for it sitting on a table.
So if anybody wants to release a tablet with a BNC connection, we're all over that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly. So, all right. So what Awesome is actually.
By the way, Rayto, do we have a producer cam today?
Sadly, we do not have a
Oh, so
Really?
sad.
Oh.
Well, so
That's too
We
bad.
need an extra BNC cable.
So Awesome is a game that's actually I think this is a game that's great for kids. If I had a kid, I would totally encourage them to play this game. The goal is to actually sum up numbers, and in this case, the sum is 11. You can see up on the top left-hand corner of the screen, and the goal is to drop these things to get them to match up to 11. 9 and 9, none of those will match up to 11. However, 8 and 3 will. I can drop that on, and boom, now that goes away. So it teaches kids basic arithmetic tables, as well as teaches them, gamer elite skills, I guess.
Is it always 11?
No, the sum will change. So like now, and at some point you just have to say, I'm just going to drop them.
Right.
Because there's just nothing I can do. None of these are going to add up, and you only have a limited number of those retries. And so there is a certain amount of luck involved here. What's even cooler if you can get an awesome where both add up to 11.
I really wish we could play the sound effects. Actually, can I simulate the sound effects?
Yes, you can. You can. So awesome! 12. So now it's switched to 12, and now you'll see whether I can actually add anything to 12, which I can't.
Except the thing is, we don't sound enough like just laid-back California surfer dudes.
No, you also can rotate these.
Awesome. Bogus, dude.
Yeah, so you can also rotate these like that. So, oh shoot.
Rotate.
I totally screwed it. I could have made an awesome there, but instead I'm just going to drop it because, unfortunately, all right. But
Bogus.
Thanks. So we're now actually testing really to see whether I can add, which is questionable, but it's actually being nice. It's giving me things that are allowing me
Awesome.
exactly allowing me to get rid of that nice tall stack there. All right, well that'll work. So I still haven't managed to get a quote unquote awesome yet, but. As you can see, the game is cool, and yeah, I think actually it's going to help teach kids arithmetic, which I really like. There's not a lot of games that I see out there that actually have what I would consider to be a mildly educational component to them. So yeah, and I liked it. The game doesn't do anything particularly wrong. It looks actually quite good on a tablet. The only thing that we ran into with this game, and I never actually managed to figure out why, is that it wasn't showing up on a Galaxy Nexus.
Right, yeah, we were really curious about that because we looked at the game's listing and the only thing that they were filtering on was ETC1, which everything should have.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure what was going on
but
with
that. But it doesn't actually show up on a Galaxy Nexus. I will say this, that filtering on ETC1 is...
there are like I think maybe 2 devices that have ever shipped that don't support ETC1.
Yeah,
but
probably not necessary, but
it's
you never know.
yeah, exactly. But if that's really the reason why it's not showing up, we need to figure that out. So
Right.
that's awesome. It is a really cool game. I definitely want to nominate it.
The other thing I love about this is the awe in their title is totally in the Dare to Keep Your Kids Off Drugs font
Yes,
from the 80s.
exactly.
And show that for just a second there, Reto.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Dare.
It totally is. Yeah. In
told
fact,
you this is a very
it
special episode.
It does need to have. It needs to have a little period next to each one of them, so it could be some sort of acronym.
That would be so cool.
That would be so much
Yeah.
cooler. Yeah. So yeah, one review comment for you guys. But overall, the game is great, and good job, guys. Really, don't have a lot to say about that. The final one we actually are officially looking at is Crafteers. And
Right. So this is an interesting game. I didn't know what to expect when I loaded it up. I wasn't super happy with the way it looked on phones, honestly. But mostly it wasn't bad. It was just that on my Galaxy Nexus, all these buttons were just a little small.
yeah, I definitely feel like there is they're even a little small on the tablet, to be honest.
I would say if you could inflate by maybe 20%, I think you'd be there.
Yeah, that was definitely my feeling when I was playing it. The game is cool, actually. It's a game in which you build things, and then you actually fight things with the things that you build. And if you like taking lots of objects and looking all over to find them and figuring out how to do things, it's actually really fun. And
it's sort of like an easier to discover version of Minecraft in a way. I mean, the crafting and defense mechanic. I mean, because you'll do things like you'll pick up a log and make a club out of it. Then you'll club a tree to death. I'm not actually sure how that works, but you'll club down a tree.
Yeah, you club down a tree.
And then you'll club its trunk into planks.
And you'll club its planks into sticks.
Exactly.
And you might need sticks and planks to build
Right.
something. Sometimes you also get a little bit of straw, which may be useful.
Right, you'll use that to build a fire,
Yes.
which is magical because I thought you needed wood for a fire, but apparently straw is good.
That's good enough. Yeah.
Then you can also club. You can't club stones. You need to get a stick
flint.
and a flint to make a pickaxe.
And the flint you just
and a
find.
vine from the vine tree.
And a vine from the vine tree, exactly.
And
So
but you can see. I mean, it ends up being kind of.
We've just
interesting.
proven we've both played through the tutorial. Awesome. So almost lost my cheese there. So But yeah, so the one thing I would say, we can't really demonstrate this, is this game does have music on the lock screen, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, which made me
Bad,
sad.
bad.
It's like no one watches our show. It's
know.
Yeah. So, fix that. And I think it's actually an interesting game to feature. I'm really curious what the team would think about it. So,
I think it's decent. I mean, it's not a novel game, and there are other games like this, but I will say it was a little novel in the sense that I went through the entire tutorial and it didn't ask me to buy anything. So that's kind of a, for this type, for this particular genre, not being nickel and dime was actually kind of nice.
Yeah, no, it did bring up an ad, and I will say the one bug that I found in the game is when I clicked on the ad, it took me into Google Play to buy something. I clicked back, and I never got the game back. So
and this is a real problem. Yeah,
yeah.
It's very common to mess up the transitions when your app loses focus, when your app pauses or stops. You really need to make sure that you save where you are and do everything you can to make it quick to get back in. And I noticed this too. Like I locked my phone and then went back in, and it has to reload again, and it's a real pain. Now on Honeycomb Above, you can use the API. What's the API again? It's to not lose your context.
I'm not sure how Tiny Villains ends up showing up here. Also, it's sometimes when I randomly click on the screen, even though I don't see an ad, it just randomly goes there. Haven't figured that one out. But yeah, the upgrade to full version. So this doesn't actually pop up full screen. But what I ended up happening when I was in game, and there was actually an in-game ad that did this, and I hit the back key to get back out, and then I was stuck forever.
Oh really?
Yeah,
okay.
But it doesn't happen when you buy from
You need to watch out for that.
Yeah, but
right. The in-app purchase is always going to pop up as a dialogue on the tablet.
Yeah,
right.
This is
Which is I kind of wish we'd do that on the phone too.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag, honestly, in terms of how good it is. The advantage of it popping up full screen is that the system is guaranteed to have enough memory to actually launch the Play Store.
Yes, but the advantage of it not popping up full screen is that it's not going to try to reclaim your app.
Yeah, exactly.
And 90% of the time, I mean, there are a few games that we found where the Play Store and your app really can't coexist. But in general, the issue is if the Play Store needs more memory, what's it going to kill first? Is it going to kill like 10 random things that are taking
the Play
up
Store
a
doesn't
couple
kill
megs
anything.
each?
The question is, what is the Android platform going to kill off as it tries to free up?
I'm sorry, I meant the
exactly.
Play the Play Store client. Right?
Yeah. The client. So what is it? What is when the Android platform is trying to make room for that Play Store client? What's it going to kill? Well, it's going to say, there's this one really big application that's taking hundreds of megabytes of RAM, and it's in the background now, so I'm going to kill it off. So
stay tuned on that, because I think we're going to maybe make some progress there.
I hope so.
But for right now, the lesson to be gleaned from this is if you've got anything that hides your app, whether it's an ad or an in-app purchase or like some sort of Tapjoy or whatever. I mean, offer wall.
Yeah.
Any of those things, if they're in a different process and they need more memory, it could result in your process stopping. So you need to be really careful about testing that sort of thing and making sure that your process can resume in a way that's not going to annoy the user.
Absolutely. So the final thing I wanted to actually go over was Call of Atlantis, which is another game.
Before we hit Call of Atlantis, I just wanted to mention, we did have a backup beer, and since I think we're, I'm done, and you're not, good.
It is 1,000 IBUs. It is a
and it's
sipping
9.6% alcohol, but I wanted to share this with you because I know that actually right after this meeting, you've got a meeting with the
exactly.
With the biz dev people from Call of Atlantis.
Yeah, exactly. So,
which is, by the way, completely coincidental.
Yes, we don't usually. I was actually Call of Atlantis was really fun. So it was interesting because Call of Atlantis came to us, and it actually was a game that was letterboxed. And I said to the guys, I'm like, look, this game looks like it was not designed to run anything other than a PC, and can you guys do something about it? And most developers, when I say this to them, they're like, no, it was not designed, and we're not going to touch it, and whatever.
Yeah, our designers like it that way.
Yeah, our designers. But they actually came and they said, all right, let's think about it. And so what they've done, as you can see here, there is actually stuff. The game originally ended in the middle of those columns on the left and right hand side of the screen, and they simply they added additional graphics, and then they extended it with this little border.
Right, so all that marbly Tuscan stuff on the left and the right was not there. It was just black before, right?
Exactly. It was just black, and it was funny because I first looked at it. I said, well, it's not what I exactly necessarily wanted them to do. But as I actually played both versions of the game side by side, and I realized as I played this more and more, having it fill the full screen, and it does actually fill the full screen during various parts like the load screen. It actually does go full screen there. And it just felt that much better. And it was a real surprise to me. We've always said that we wanted people to try to use the full screen, but in this game, even making a relatively minor change, like adding a background graphic that could extend and not changing any other part of the gameplay, made an enormous difference to the experience to someone who was using it. It really made it feel like I was playing something that was meant for my device.
And this brings up an interesting point, because we've talked a lot about different screen aspect ratios, and
good.
Isn't it?
It's really
Isn't it?
good.
Yes, this is the barrel-aged Bourbon 11.
Wow.
It's a beer that's been aged in bourbon barrels.
So another thing I'll tell you, when we first got this game, all of
No,
the...
hang on.
Sorry.
You
Okay,
you
I cut
interrupted
you off.
me with
You're right,
beer,
you
which
too.
you can always interrupt me with beer, but you can't interrupt with other things.
Okay.
Anyway, the point is that we know it can be frustrating to deal with different aspect ratios, but there's always some way to do it that isn't going to just completely suck.
Yes.
Sometimes you can stretch your game. Some games stretch really well. Some games don't, but you can add a little bit to either side. Sometimes it's just as simple as, hey, you had your scoring area, your HUD, over the top of the game, and now there's some area above that that's just blank. Why don't you just move your HUD up?
Exactly. So
The one thing you don't want to do, and this is where I was getting to, is try and game the system by defining compatible screens and making really, really specific aspect ratios for each set of screens. Because you know what's happening to all the people that declared on compatible screens today?
they're not showing up on this device
That's right. None of them show up on the Nexus 7. You know why?
because we didn't think about it.
Exactly. No, we thought of that. Good Lord. The problem is that the Nexus 7 is a geometry that's never been seen before in Android. It's a 7-inch device.
Well,
it's 1280 by 800.
It is. Most importantly, it is a DPI that has never been seen before.
That's what I meant. It's quote unquote TV DPI.
Yeah,
right?
that's it. Well, we haven't really named it. It's 213 DPI, so that's the.
Ooh, you said the number.
I know. So
Don't use compatible screens is the moral of that story.
yeah, if you can possibly.
All right, go back to. I know you're just raring to talk about Call of Atlantis. Go ahead.
So one thing we noticed when we were first playing the game is that the fonts were very, very low resolution, and it's interesting because when a font is really, really low resolution, your eye tries to focus that font. It tries to say, because it looks blurry.
Yeah.
And it just makes you strain to read all the text as if you're expecting it to somehow, get in. If your eyes, it tricks your eye into actually trying to get it into focus when it can't.
The truth is, that's actually just Dan. He needs bifocals, and we haven't told him yet.
Thank you, Ian. Now, back to the game. So we asked them. We said, look, can you do anything about the fonts? And they did. And honestly, the game is much more playable. And
this,
even though the background is still the equal low resolution, you don't even really notice that for the most part, the background's in much lower resolution than the font in the foreground. But the whole game feels a lot more crisp. It didn't take that much more space, and it made a huge difference in the gameplay.
And to put it more technically, what you want to do is watch your high frequency art. So fonts are always expected to be high frequency. You can get away with lower frequency on other pieces of art, on your backgrounds, for instance. You can't always get away with it, but in general you can. But basically, you need to look at your game on different displays and ask yourself, especially on the 720p or even when it releases the new 1080p tablets, look at them and ask yourself, does your game actually still look good? And if it doesn't, you might want to start considering switching up some art. Just doing a set of larger bitmaps, for instance.
And that's mostly what they did. I mean, there are some they didn't bother to do, and for the most part, you don't notice them. And I think the key thing is be strategic. You don't actually need to necessarily change every piece of art in order to get something feeling like a real tablet app. But all of a sudden, this app, which really felt very low resolution, very outdated, all of a sudden feels like a modern application. And so
it really does. It looks very crisp from back here.
Yeah.
It looks great. And I see what you mean about the backgrounds aren't necessarily the same resolution. But I think it's a perfect trade-off. What they've done is they've taken the elements that are relatively small but high frequency and put a lot of effort into making those sharp. And they've taken the elements that are lower frequency but really, really large, and they've kept those at a lower effective resolution, which means they use less memory without actually disturbing the user experience.
Exactly, and so that's and I think that part of the reason I wanted to highlight this was because I really like the trade-offs that they made. I think they made some very smart decisions. I will say the only thing that left that I really, really don't like about this game is their icon. If you can see that icon on the main screen, it just makes me sad.
Yeah,
because Android icons are not supposed to be rounded, cornered things.
Actually, let's talk about all of these icons because every single one of them makes me sad.
They're all
And let's
bad.
just talk about how each of them could be better. Dead trigger does not need a rounded rectangle around it. No reason. Why not just put an outline around the letters?
Yeah, it'd be so cool if it
and what's
just,
the
had
next-
some cool glowing outline in the back of red. Oh, awesome.
And the next one,
crafters.
yeah, same basic deal. Why not just a pickaxe and flint? Why does it have to have a background?
Yeah.
The next one is, well, okay, those guys are little, and so is the next one. But still, yeah,
Tony
why
Hawk, you don't even need to have.
why just have an alpha background?
Yeah, exactly. And awesome, definitely an alpha background would be awesome. You only need the three. You only need the three numbers.
Because remember, we know that there are a lot of guidelines out there, and we know that a lot of times you go with a particular lead SKU or a particular maybe it's the device that your boss owns or whatever, and they want everything to look like that particular OS. But remember that Android users bought Android for a reason. They usually love their Android device and they want it to look like Android.
And if you look at those icons on the bottom, which are mostly Android system icons of the screen, you can see that they all have unique shapes, and part of the way that people recognize them is their shapes. You recognize that the browser is that circle, so it actually gives the user something else to clue into.
Now, some of these, sometimes it's really like for instance, I think YouTube's logo has always looked like that.
Yes, because
So
it looks like
even
that in
though-
the browser.
Right. So even though if someone were to come to us with this icon and say, does this look like an Android icon? Honestly, we'd say, well, no. But if it's part of your branding, if it's part of the way your brand looks, all right. But especially when it's obviously not. And Call of Atlantis is a great example of this. Call of Atlantis has a brand that's defined by this circular thing.
And it's got this dragon in the corner of it.
Right, a circular
that's-
thing with a dragon in the corner. Okay, well, the dragon in the corner is just a badge, right?
Yeah, it's
Well,
probably-
we
it's a
have badges too. Everybody's got badges.
Yeah, that's their Playrix brand. And
Right.
Then the game is actually the circle. Well, it would actually be really cool to just have it be a circle, and we have full alpha in these support in these icons, and it can look really, really great. And it
Right.
doesn't actually need to have this thing on the background. So that's a general call to developers. Think of your brand is very, very important. Think about how you can make your application stand out on Android by taking advantage of the fact that you can use funky shapes.
Yep, absolutely. And the really nice thing about this is that instead of having just a featureless set of uniform rounded rectangles, your user will be looking at things where not only the picture, but also the outline of your icon will become a visual cue to them to know where your application is and what that icon stands for. So in general, if you can, and we realize that sometimes design departments are tough to convince, but if you can convince them that they don't want the rounded rectangle, you can often get a better, more memorable icon on Android.
Absolutely. So so we're almost done for today.
We are so out of time. We
But-
only gave Reto 45 minutes, and we have just taken 56. You know why? Because we're awesome.
Right. So in any case, so definitely keep nominating stuff to the forum. We really appreciate all the time you guys put in there.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate all the time you guys put in actually writing games. We've been so happy. Honestly, with a lot of the games that have come out to Google Play
It's
recently.
great. Yeah, this year we have seen so much great stuff on Google Play. We've still got a few developers that we really want to bring over, but in general, the quality is such that 3 years ago we were like, what are we going to feature this week? And now it's like, oh my God, what are we going to reject because they're all so good?
Yeah, it's great to see everyone's taking to the platform. To me, I think this having a Nexus 7 as a reference device for people to play off of is great. I mean, what's awesome is this is a $199 device in the U.S. This is a low-end device.
It's $199, and it's slightly more capable than an Xbox One.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
Almost, I mean, modulo some custom software, it's in the league of the Asus Transformer Prime, which has been our top performing go-to device for a long time, and it's only $200. So, which just blows my mind. Now, and I would say that I'm going to buy one for my wife, but if I bought one for my wife, she'd be pissed because I just spent $200. I need to find a way to get it for free. And then, so I think what I'm going to do is get one for myself for free, and then buy one and give her the one that was free, and say it was free.
Right. Exactly. So you
My wife's like that. Anyway, but yeah. So and actually,
she doesn't watch it. She doesn't watch this program, fortunately.
Sometimes she does actually, but the other thing that's really cool about this device is the Tegra 3 platform. And I don't want to massively pimp the Tegra 3 platform. It has its good sides, it has its bad sides. It's a platform. But you may have noticed that some companies are betting heavily on it in the gaming space. Well, here's a chance to get a dev kit really cheap.
Exactly.
I don't know why we're pimping this so heavily because nobody's gonna pay us for doing that.
I know. We're gonna get a call from the guys in Vid.
We just really love this
Thank
device.
you. We love you all.
It's just one of those things where we're like,
Yeah.
Phones come out and sometimes we're like super happy, like, oh yeah, this is great. But let me speak frankly for a moment.
This is just different than the rest of the show.
In the history of Android, a lot of times something will come out and we're like, you know what, that's awesome. But I can go to the store and get a competing product that's just as good for either a lower price or maybe the same price, but objectively it's slightly better in some ways. And this changes all of that. This is the first product that we've shipped where it's competitive on price and performance and pretty much everything else. And we've had a lot of fun playing with it. We've had development devices in for about 2 months now, been carrying them with us, or we've been sharing them with developers in our lab. And every time I pick one up, I'm like, wow, I'm really happy that we're shipping this device.
Yeah, it's a warm and fuzzy feeling to be proud of something that you're shipping like this. And I'll tell you, from a developer perspective, the other thing that's great about it is that NVIDIA's performance tools work out of the box on this device.
No way.
Yeah, which is awesome.
No way.
So
that's so awesome.
Yeah.
So basically, so I was on the Xbox 360 launch team, and I think that since then, this is the first device that I've been just as excited about.
Awesome.
Maybe not quite as excited, but you went out to the desert for the Xbox
I
360,
did.
didn't you?
I was there freezing in the desert with everyone else. It was awesome. It was a good thing that they distributed sweatshirts to us. So in any case, that's it for today's Friday game review. Again, continue putting cool stuff in the moderator. We're going to continue to mix it up a little. I'm hoping to I actually would love to show you guys those performance analysis tools, and maybe we'll run a game through the ringer.
Let us know. You can give us feedback on our Google Plus page. And you can give us feedback on YouTube, but we probably won't read it because, let's face it, come on, YouTube commenters, come on. But But in general, we want to know what you think, and we also want to know what you'd like to see. Would you like to see more technical info? Because that's kind of our job. We're engineers. Would you like to see just more game reviews? We can do that too. We are massive gamers. What's most interesting to you? Anyway, let's sign off for now. Next week we will be back with another beer and another set of games. Love you all. See you later.